Live league action. In 2018, the Auckland Rugby League is putting the game in your hands. Never miss a hit from New Zealand's premier rugby league competition. To get the inside edge on where you can watch the action live and free, hit up aucklandleague.co.nz. Live league action. aucklandleague.co.nz.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Hardy with ARL TV, and we're here at the home of the Hawks. Tasha Tasmania joins us, and she's the chairman down here at the Hawks Nest. General Manager. Sorry about the GM piece. And Tash, the ground's looking fantastic. Not so much foot traffic on the ground so far, but looking really, really tidy. Tell us a bit about what's happening down at the club.
Really good conditions today, right now, actually.
Yep.
It was raining before then. We're up for some good weather for our premier match coming up at 2:30.
So I'm going to jump straight to the club rooms. You're looking a little bit more relaxed now than what you have done, especially over the last 12 months. I know that the ARL have done a couple of stories on the club. The fantastic coffee, the barista, the cafeteria is now open, the commercial kitchen. Is it a dream come true?
It's been hard work to get to where we are today. I am somewhat relieved of having the building renovation come to a halt. It's not completely finished,
right.
But it's nice to enjoy a beautiful club rooms. When I mean beautiful, I truly do mean state of the art.
Yep.
It's fantastic. We've got all our members coming through now. That place is about to pack up shortly. We'll be hosting our guests and our visitors who are Mount Albert and some of our life members,
So on a live stream day, and thanks very much for hosting the ARL team, but more importantly with Mount here, can anybody come along and join in the club after the match today?
Well, look, we're open from 4 p.m. onwards to our visitors, Mount Albert. We'll be hosting them for a meal following their game, and our members, yes.
Cool. And in regards to the meals that you have on offer over there, tell us a bit about that and what can we expect?
Look, one of the great things about having a commercial kitchen and being licensed as a commercial kitchen means that we're able to sort of create some fusion in the kitchen, if you like.
Yep.
That's what my chefs like to call it. So exactly what you see in a cafe, in your normal central cafes, wherever you normally go to, your local cafe, that's exactly what we bring here. We do special evenings where we've got different meals on during the weekdays, certainly it's now you can purchase a healthy option meal or a full wholesome
Fabulous.
meal at the club rooms.
And what are the hours? What are the operating hours? Is it a lunchtime thing? Is it an afternoon, evening meal?
Yeah. So right now, because I've only been open for 3 weeks, I've only had a license for 3 weeks. Right now we're operating Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. Obviously that's from a breakfast menu right through to a dinner menu. Yeah.
So I understand you had an official opening, and at the official opening, Olsen Filipina came home for that. How cool is that, guy? Eh? And you had a lot of sponsors here, so I want to give a bit of love, a shout out to the sponsors. Who helped support the Mangere East Hawks.
It wasn't just one funder or one sponsor in particular, but if I had to name the ones right at the top there, Burger King New Zealand was a major sponsor towards these renovations and the season campaign for both juniors and seniors. Our local board, Mangere Otahu local board, Lydia and her team, were just instrumental into getting us with the first startup cost of our renovations, alongside with Auckland Council. Then we had Foundation North come right through alongside Four Winds, the Four Winds Trust have been amazing for the last 3 years in trying to get some pre-construction work done from the beginning. And it had to be those 4 in particular that I have just mentioned. They led the way for other trust funders to come through and support the building renovation. So thank you, a huge thank you to all of the funders that were on board for that. Yeah.
Excellent. Look, and it's not just about the support from sponsors and what you gain from there, but you know, a lot of volunteers have helped you along the way, and I just wanted to do a special shout out to Val. I know she was here early this morning, and I know you've got a strong team behind you. Anyone that you'd like to give a wee bit of araha to?
Oh, look, you know, I've always said this year in, year out. I have a strong team behind me, but the standards are set right at the top from the get-go. There's no surprises in what we do here. Where I have a very hard-working team. I don't carry this load alone. And with our coordinators, Valerie, Wayne Boys, Renee, Puaru, Leanne and Sunita, those in particular are the ones who lead the charge when it comes to making sure the campaign of the season is done right and correctly and to the best of our ability. Yeah, big shout out to my soldiers.
Very good. Well, look, General Manager for the Mangere East Hawks, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, congratulations on all the success that you've got with the clubhouse so far. I know there's a wee bit more work coming and happening, you know, between now and the end of this season and rolling into 2019. In regards to live streaming, just want to touch a little bit around that. You know, you've been a big supporter of it over the last couple of seasons, and how have you found it this season?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. We do have a very wide audience here, namely Australia. We have so many of our Margaretese families who have shifted over to Oz, now playing and working there and settled down with their families. And it does help them too, because look, they're always going to leave this club to move somewhere else for living and work. But to them, for them over in Australia, down in the South Island, it means a lot for them to be able to keep close with their club by watching us on the live.
And staying in touch too.
Yeah, thanks, Troy.
Awesome.
Corey.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, listen, don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you very much for hosting the Auckland Rugby League TV live stream crew. Corey Ross is going to be back with the build-up for today's main game as we get ready now for Mount Albert playing Mangere East Hawks.
Welcome back in. We are now joined by head coach of the Mangere East Hawks. Well, Matt Pilmer, what a difference a year makes. Almost 12 months ago to this day, you were fighting for survival. But fast forward to this year and you're safe, sitting on 12 competition points. You know, how relieving is it to be in this situation as opposed to the one you were last year?
Oh, it's definitely relieving to be in this situation. But in saying that, at the same time, we're at where we are on the table at the moment. We sort of can't go down, but, you know, we're going to struggle to make the top four now, and so it's a little bit trying to get the motivation for the boys at the moment, and we've set ourselves a couple of little targets in these last 3 games, so we're hoping that we can walk away with those.
Talk us through those targets, and you know, obviously you're in a tricky spot here where it can be a bit hard to motivate the boys, so talk us through those targets. One
in particular, and that, I guess it depends on how today's games go, but we're playing Glenora for the Rooster next weekend, and hopefully they hold on to it against Otahu today. And we can go out to Glenora and you know, we potentially play quite well out there in the last few years, and we could possibly take the Rooster off them and sort of cap quite a good year for the young boys. And I think the club's seen it for about 15 years, so that's something we're really looking forward to doing. But in saying that, you know, the last couple of weeks haven't been great for us, and with injury-wise and the way we've been playing, so we have to step it up today to get ourselves ready for next week too.
You mentioned a key phrase in the young boys, and it is a very young squad you've got. Who's really stood up this year, Matt, and impressed you? And who are you looking forward to seeing in action again next year?
Well, Kalani Ili has been playing fantastic for us today, for this year, but unfortunately can't play today due to police commitments. And Inga Lamoni, our halfback, has probably been one of our standouts this year. He's been inspirational for the team, and he's back today. He's been missing the last 2 or 3 weeks with concussion, so he's back into the team today, and that'll make a really a difference and help Howard in that organising in the middle of the field. Those two especially, and Jacob Tamura as well. When he really turns up to play, he's a handful, and he's been causing a lot of trouble out there for us this year.
Now, you felt the full wrath of Point Chevalier last week. What's been the sort of review of that performance? Yeah,
it was a tough week for us last week. The boys were pretty disappointed after Otahu. I mean, that was, if we won Otahu, we would have possibly really pushed for a top 4 spot. We got a few injuries the last few weeks, and in all honesty, we actually pulled up a lot of the reserve boys into the team last week. I had no choice. Guys were unavailable or injured, which, pretty much left our reserve grade team with 11 players last week, and so it was tough. Playing a team like Point Chev, who had just come off a loss, and they were pretty hungry back at their home ground again. Their team's pretty strong when you look at their team, and they've got Auckland players playing reserves. So it was a tough game for the boys, and it was a nice sort of wake-up call for some of these reserve boys to see what calibre they have to get up to play a bit of top-side football.
And given that you do have a lot of reserve players in your squad, I think quite a few again this week, what's been the sort of major thing you've focused on this week?
For us, it was just sort of getting those basics right. They sort of let us down, controlling the ruck and, slowing down the play of the ball. I think that's where Point tried to really get us last week. Was trying to quicken it all up, but we've worked on it this week, and we've got a Village of Cares playing his 50th game today, so we're hoping the boys can really get up and put a special one in there for him today.
Defence has been, I guess, your major downfall this year, and even most of the time when you've won this year, there's been a lot of points conceded. Have you sort of been able to put your finger on what's been going wrong there?
Yeah, once again, I think it's just around that ruck and getting numbers in the tackles, and there's been too much one-on-one tackles for us, and not really getting 2 or 3 in there to slow it all down, and we're getting just quick players on us, and just over enthusiasm from some of these young boys too, to get up off that line and try and put a big hit on, and coming off the line and leaving holes, and so you see you keep trying to tell them and work on it, but some of these enthusiastic young boys just want to still rush out of the line and put that big hit, and woo the crowd, as such. But they're getting there, and I think another year in Fox has really helped them out. I mean, we've done a lot better than last year, and we held on to a lot of the players from last year. So it's a work in progress. We're hoping next year that we can really and go a lot further.
You come up against the Mount Albert team today, who have everything to play for. They're fighting for a top 4 spot. So what are you expecting from them today?
Well, they're a class side. I know they've had a bit of an up and down season, but they're sort of finding their feet now again once they're coming to that top 4, and they're a top 4 team. And I expect a good fast game, well controlled by Reece Joyce, good kicking game. They got fast backs, and they got the sort of total package. But I expect them to try and win that ruck first, and come up that middle and try and run our young boys around. But we're still confident. We've still got a lot to play for the end of the season, so we'd like to try and put a dent in their top 4 hopes and get a win today.
All right, we're going to take a very short break now before we welcome in Keith Hanley from the Mount Albert Lions. But Matt Pilmer, thank you for joining us, and all the best today.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
We now welcome in Keith Hanley, head coach of the Mount Albert Lions. Well, Keith, you come off a grinding victory last week against Otahu. Probably a good build-up for what shapes as a critical sort of final 3 weeks for you guys. What was the takeaway from that match?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Tough game last week against Otahu. But it's proven we can win the tough ones when we stick to our processes. So pleasing. It's given us a little bit of confidence heading into obviously today and the 2 really tough fixtures ahead.
Goal kicking the difference last week as well. I think Reece Joyce kicking a couple of goals, and that was the difference in the end. How nice having him back in the squad after a few weeks without him when he was away on rugby union duties.
Yeah, again, mate, you've hit it on the head. Really fortunate to have someone of that quality come back into the side, and like you just said, mate, he made a huge difference for us last week in the goal kicking stakes. Yeah, good.
You got through a recent rough patch where I think you lost sort of 3 or 4 in a row there, and things were looking pretty bad. So what's changed in the last couple of weeks, Keith?
Yeah, mate, we've had a tough run. We've gone through some dark places, I suppose. I think in the development of this team, it was something that when we reflect, it probably had to happen. And it sounds kind of crazy, but we've had to find some ways that are unconventional to win footy games because we don't quite have the size or whatever the issue might have been. And we've had to find different ways to go about it and do our business. So, yeah, it's been a real learning.
No Dylan Rota today and no Aiden Auckland. Just talk us through the injury situation. I see there's a couple of notable names missing from the pack as well. So how are you looking injury-wise?
Yeah, and again, like every other team, we've got a few injuries today in the middle. We've had to call up a couple of the boys from the reserve grade side. But again, we're very confident they'll do a job for us today.
Right, coming to this week tied with Howick, but with a bit of a differential advantage there. Otahu still very much in the frame for that top 4 spot. What's the feeling you get in terms of how your squad's responding to the pressure they're going to face over the next 3 weeks, Keith?
Mate, we're just taking it one game at a time. It's one moment at a time. Every play or every phase that we're involved in, we're just trying to have the understanding and be mindful that everything matters.
Yep.
So we're trying to get some wins in every little situation that we're coming across. And, mate, today, tough game with Mangere out here. So we're looking forward to the contest.
Young Mangere East team, they've got a lot of points in them, that's for sure. What are you expecting from the Hawks today?
Mate, we're expecting them to try and play a little bit of footy. They score a lot of points when you let them get on top of the ground and give the ball a bit of air. We're just looking to grind that first 15, 20 minutes. That'll lay a platform for us. The longer we stay in and they don't score, the better for us. They get a lot of confidence when they get points on the board and funny things can happen.
Yes, indeed. All right, we're going to take a little look out to the field now. The reserve game's just finished in the background here. Keith, thanks for joining us and all the best today.
Mate, appreciate it. Thank you.
Next up, ladies and gentlemen, 2:30 kickoff. We have Mangere Hawks taking on Mount Albert Lions for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. For those who have joined us for this afternoon, welcome to the home of the Hawks, Mangere East Rugby League Club, Walton and Ctas. Just a couple of things before we kick off on field 1 for the ARL Livestream game. Mangere Rugby League Club is an alcohol-free zone. This means no alcohol is to be consumed on the field, in the car park, or in the changing room. Please ensure no alcohol is consumed on the field, in the car park, or in the changing room. Anyone cited will be asked to leave immediately from the park. It is for the safety and well-being of not only our players and match officials and team officials, it is also about the families that join us to support the game that we all love. Rudely interrupted our mod prize giving inside. I apologise, guys. However, those who wish to purchase an alcoholic beverage, you are more than welcome to purchase in the downstairs bar. Any children that you bring with you must be supervised by an adult at all times.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. On screen, the Mount Albert Lions going through their final preparations here for what shapes as a massive game if they are to push on and make the playoffs this year. Currently tied with Howick on the edge of that top four. There are Tahuhu as well, only 2 points back. So it's a big game for the Lions. Also a big game for the young Mangere East Hawks. We just heard from Coach Matt Pilmer. And he said, well, their goals may be a little different than a team like Mount Albert at this point of the year. They can't really go up or down Mangere East. They have got some things that they really want to achieve over the next few weeks. Now going to welcome into the commentary box for the second time today, Troy Hardy. Well, Troy, a bit of rain earlier today, but it's dried up nicely. It should be a really good match today, particularly in the forwards. I think Mangere East bring a big forward pack to the game, and we've seen what the Mount Albert boys can do when they're on song.
Yeah, I agree with you, Corey. In regards to the ground, I sort of touched on that with Tasha earlier. I think they have had not so much foot traffic on here over the last couple of weeks, just in regards to the way draws have happened and games have been played out here at the home of Mangere East Hawks. So the ground is looking actually really, really nice and great shape. I think it's held up really well. You know, there's been times that we've been to this ground and we've seen it cut up pretty badly, but it's in great shape, so I'm expecting a hard, fast game today for both teams.
Now, plenty of footy on across Auckland today, and we are getting to the business end, really, in every competition. Of course, we've got the grand finals for the 16-17 restricted tomorrow at Mount Smart Stadium number 2, as well as the Farrelly Photos women's competitions, the pennant and the premiership, and we'll probably touch on that as we go throughout the coverage. But a little look at the second division now and some of the games going on today, and a big one, Bay Roskill up against Ponsonby Troy. Well, we were chatting about this one earlier. It's the two best teams in the second division. Right in time for the finals as well. I think that's going to be a cracker. Yeah,
mate, it would be really cool to be there today to see that match. A lot to play for both teams. One, you know, being Bay Roskill, king of the ladder at the moment and wanting to stay there and, you know, walk into the finals in the best possible shape, and for Ponsonby to make a statement. So they've been thereabouts, and for those two big juggernauts to come together today, what a clash that's going to be.
Yeah, it'll be an awesome game. We will bring you half-time scores where applicable at the break in this one as well. Te Atatū, they face a key game, and it's really must-win now for Te Atatū. They spent last year in the first division, started this year really well, but they've suffered a tough run in the last month and a half. They at home to Mangere, that is really a must-win for the Te Atatū Roosters. Papatoetoe Panthers, well, they take on Waitemata. Waitemata now really in a good position to push on for a top 8 spot. Picked up a couple of big victories. They've beaten some big guns this year, Waitemata, and understand, you know, their forward pack when they get going, particularly at home at the Ranui Domain, they're a pretty fearsome side to try and control. So Papatoetoe with their work cut out in that one. The Otara Scorpions take on the New Lynn Stags at Ngāti Otara Park. The Otara Scorpions a little bit up and down this year, but big news this week, a rather big inclusion for them. A name, Ruben Wiki, who looks like he's going to turn out for them. Not sure if he'll play today, given that.
Well, just the fact that he's at the park and turning up, that's going to send enough awe around the place. So, welcome back to the Fox. Welcome back to the Otara Scorpions, Ruben Wiki.
Yeah, very cool, and he has been taking the trainings for a couple of weeks now. And as you mentioned, Troy, even if he doesn't end up taking the field, I think having the mana that Ruben Wiki brings around the group, it's going to be awesome. And you will have read about that in the New Zealand Herald this week as well. So great to see the second division getting a little bit of coverage there as well. Another big game, the Franklin Storm take on the Ellerslie Eagles. Now, Franklin, 3 weeks ago, they were unbeaten. They come up against an Ellerslie side now, having lost 3 on the trot. This is a big game for Franklin if they're going to turn things around before the finals.
Absolutely. Now, I saw the coach first thing this morning, and they look like they're fairly relaxed and ready for today's game. So they're up for it. So I won't be surprised that, you know, it's going to be another great clash in the Crown Lift Truck Sharman Cup. And Ellerslie, to be fair, have probably got a point to prove. So that's going to be a tough day for both camps.
So a little look at the results from last week as well in the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup. And Bay Roskill, a last-minute try, gets them home 24-20 over Pakuranga to keep that undefeated run going. Ellerslie did it easy, 44-4 over New Lynn. Mangere Marlins, well, they went down to Waitemata. We just talked about Waitemata and their ability to beat some big guns this year. It was a late try and a field goal for a 23-16 victory. Manukau got up 42-20 over the Papatoetoe Panthers, and the Otara Scorpions made light work of the Te Atatū Roosters in a high-scoring one, 42-22. And in the remaining game, the Ponsonby Ponies getting up over the Franklin Storm, 34-16. Let's now take a look at the second division ladder and how things look heading into the final 2 weeks of that season.
Whilst we wait for the ladder. Just having a look, the referee's getting ready, and here's the ladder now.
So at the top it is the Bay Roskill Vikings, still without a loss this year. A perfect 13 from 13. The Ponsonby Ponies, well, that's a must-win for them today up against Bay Roskill if they are to contend for the minor premiership. The Ellerslie Eagles, who have just sort of snuck into that top 4 there and looking pretty good as well. They picked up a draw there, which might end up making all the difference in the end. A big game for them today against Franklin Storm as well, because they will swap positions should Franklin win. A little further back, the Mangere Marlins with that 2-point buffer over the Otara Scorpions. A further 2 back, the Pakuranga Jaguars, another team that's sort of just quietly gone about their business this year and picked up some really big results. And then on the edge of that top 8, the Northern Brothers, Waitemata Seagulls and Newland Stags, the main contenders for that remaining spot. And in the back end of the competition, the Te Roosters, the only one really with a realistic chance of cracking that top 8 as we head into the final couple of weeks. Now a little look at the First Division, and we know that the First Division is into the final 3 weeks, 3 games to go in this one. We'll now take a look at some of the games going on today, and there are some big matches. The Roops on the line at Harold Moody Reserve when Otahu take on Glenora, Marist take on Point Chevalier, Howick vs Northcote, that's a big game. 2 sides very much contending for that top 4. Papakura are at home to Richmond, and of course our live stream game today, the Mount Albert Lions taking on the Mangere East Hawks. Let's take a look quickly at the First Division ladder now, and at the top, just the 1 loss so far, the Glenora Bears nestled in just behind the Point Chevalier Pirates. Northcote Tigers sitting pretty in 3rd position, and then that battle on the edge, the Mount Albert Lions and Howick Hornets heading into this round tied on 18 points, just 2 points back the Otahu Leopards. Mangere East, well, they're pretty much out of the running, you would think, for the top 4, but they can't get relegated. And then at the back, this is the dogfight now for the relegation spot, to try and avoid that relegation spot. Speaking of dogs, Richmond right in that one as well, Papakura, and at the bottom the Marist Saints. So that Papakura Richmond game will be crucial today. Troy, the winner of that one, you would think probably gives himself a bit of breathing room. I'm not going to say they're safe, but a bit of breathing room.
Absolutely, and with all clashes, especially everyone talks about the focus at the top of the table. Yep, I get all of that. Well, rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, the ferocious, the intensity around the bottom of the table is just as intense. So that's going to be a big game today. Sea Eagles up against Bulldogs.
All right, well now, as the teams go through their final warm-up, so we can hear the reserve grade song going on in the background there as well. We'll bring up the team lists and run you through how they will take the field, and there is a whole glut of changes to the Mangere East team, which appears on your screen. And in fact, it really won't resemble anything there, but we'll run you through the changes for the Burger King Mangere East Hawks. At the back, it is Dakota Taimani. The wingers are Elkin Fa'asavala and Louis Lahungoa. In the centres, Morgan Salelisi and Lafu Whaianganga. And in the halves, the captain, Howard Brown and Inga Limoni. Up in the engine room, Tiriaiti and Vili Tukia are the props. Natane V, the hooker. And in the back row, he'll wear 17 now. Still playing in the back row, though, Nicholas Halalilo. Jacob Tamoa, who is a powerhouse player. He's put in some brilliant performances this year. Junior R4 will lock the scrum. And on the bench, Connor Brown, Deidre Whangopo, Viliami Malau, and Steve Tongiu will wear the 11 on the bench. That's how the Burger King Mangere East Hawks will take the field, coached by Matt Pilmer. And for the Russell Gordon contractors, Mount Albert Lions, changes for them as well. No Dylan Rota today, so Corey Sita fills the fullback spot. Milan Brown and Cortez Taulu are the wings. In the centres, Royden Gillett and Smissy Tyrell. In the halves, a very experienced halves pairing, Trent Wallace joins Reece Joyce. Reece Joyce back in the squad after a couple of weeks away with the Cook Islands Rugby Union team, trying to help them qualify for the Rugby Union World Cup. So Reece doing a little bit of moonlighting in the other code as well, but I understand he got to do a bit of travelling on that one as well. So welcome back to Reece. Up in the engine room, Sala Falilua Malio, one of the standouts for Mount Albert this year. After signing across from Te Aratu last year, he is joined by a late inclusion in the shape of Simoni Makahili, who will wear the 18. Aidan Awe is the hooker, and in the back row, Rory Ropati, Paia Palu, and Koma Sampson. And on the bench, Johnny Falilua Mario, Mannix Rice, another of the late call-ups. He joins Juani Rogers Brown and Mitui Kali. So that is how they will take the field.
And look, and just a special acknowledgement, Corey, on behalf of all the Mount Albert Rugby League Club and probably many clubs inside the Auckland Rugby League. Chris Mita passed away this week, and just wanted to share a wee bit of respect for Chris Mita. Fabulous rugby league player, class act, played for Auckland, and I know there's a lot of people out there hurting, but yeah, remember the good times, and Chris's details in regards to his service will be known publicly on either Carlo Park Diehards or Mount Albert Rugby League Facebook site, and they're looking to bring the body home after they've had a service in the Gold Coast. So much respect there.
Yeah, and looking at some of the wonderful memories that were shared of Chris this week, Troy, and looking at some of the team lists, he played with some of the real greats of Auckland Rugby League as well, and more than held his own in those teams. You probably talk a little bit more about that, but really played through a golden generation for a couple of clubs as well.
Absolutely, and you know, he was a favoured son of the Mount Albert Lions, great centre for them, great winger. Played for a number of Auckland clubs, as I said, and one of the memorable games for a lot of Carlo Park fans will be the Auckland team up against the North Sydney Bears. And a big shout out to the Bears. They sort of shared and liked that post around Chris Smeater, so just great to see. Fabulous respect to, you know, a player who was really highly thought of and well regarded.
Yeah, and it's one of the things we love about this game is I think rugby league tends to show its best side in the tough times, and everyone sort of comes together. So awesome to see some of the tributes here today. All right, now we're going through the final little handshakes on field now. Trent Wallace will be the stand-in captain for the Mount Albert Lions, with Jared Tua, a late exclusion from the team. So Trent Wallace, a more than capable player. He was a wonderful contributor a couple of weeks ago against Howard. I tell you what, if they'd won that day, Trent Wallace would have been a shoo-in for man of the match honours. He's playing some great footy this year. A little bit different than previous years. He's got a very dominant half next to him this year in the shape of Rhys Joyce, but he's playing his role really well so far this year. Key guys to watch out for on this Mount Albert side, Rhys Joyce and Trent Wallace, who we've highlighted. Also Aidan Awe, who brought a lot of energy to the bottom of the ruck the last couple of weeks. He's a big one for them. And Coma Sampson, going to be interesting to see Coma get a start. He's been overseas, played in France, of course, came through the Junior Warriors system, so looking forward to seeing him in action. Similarly, a couple of boys for the Mangere East side as well, particularly Jacob Tamua. I'm really looking forward to seeing him take on this Mount Albert pack. All right, all ready to go. Ball on the tee.
All right, guys, here we go. Time to run.
And here we go, round 16 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Joyce brings it in and goes straight into Salafaliluamalio, one of several Kelston Boys High School graduates in this Mount Albert Lions team, likes of Aidan Awe, little brother Johnny Faliluamalio as well, coming through that system. So it served them well. And of course, Phil Gordon involved with the Mount Albert club, who was head coach of the Kelston side for a number of years as well.
Great day for rugby league down here at Mangere East Hawks home. Sun is shining, track is fast. Hawks now on the grind inside their 20 to 30.
There's a good first set from the Mount Albert Lions. Got to their kick and settled things down nicely. Big focus for this Mangere East team. It is defence. Kept the team to less than 26. Only 4 times this year. It's in 15 games. So easy to see that defence is the major work on for them, as we see Jacob Tamua get rid of one early on. I dare say that will be a sign of things to come. He's a destructive player. Spent some time over at the Sydney Roosters in the SG Ball. One of a number of Mangere East juniors who have spent time overseas and returned home this year. Swings it out to back to Limoni, who gets a nice long kick on it. That's a monster of a kick from Limoni, but it's going to be out on the full, in fact, so too big. Certainly struck it nicely off the boot, and it was flying down, and I think it would have actually been a 40-20. It would have been if it had remained in the field of play, but out on the full is the call. So an error on the opening set for Mangere East. One thing, Troy, we have called Mangere East a couple of times this year. They tend to be slow starters, don't they? And they find their way into the game, but unfortunately it tends to be a little bit too late by the time they do get into the game. So it's crucial that they complete some sets early, and obviously that's not the ideal start. Awe now clears the ruck, and they go to Wallace, who steps back inside. Awe, they centralise via Makahili. Huge crowd down here today at Walter Massey Park. You can see that from the car park, which is chock-a-block. Joyce throws the cutout right across the face, isolates Gillett, and Royden Gillett's going to go close. Good scrambling defence from Mangere East. Back to the centre they come, another flat ball from Joyce, and Falilua Malio just settles. Tamora arriving to take him down. Last tackle coming up. Joyce is set to the right, and that's where it goes. Dinks a little kick over the top. It's caught, but out from Corey Sita. So targeting that right edge early on, Mount Albert Lions. But good defence from the Mangere East Hawks, who need to complete this set. Make sure they don't start any bad habits that are going to linger on in this one.
Oh,
just as we say that,
bubble.
That is a clean drop. And the Mangere East Hawks 0 from 2 in terms of completed sets in this game. Falilua Malio lines it up, takes them forward. Right in front of the SAS uprights now. It's Mount Albert Lions team. Really come back into form in the last couple of weeks. And we've got a forward pass there on a dummy half from Awe. Some interesting results in the last couple of weeks for them. A big win a couple of weeks ago, and then really made to work for it last week against Otahu. And isn't it nice, Troy, to see both Otahu and Mount Albert back in the first division and enjoying some close matches again. It was such a great rivalry all those years ago.
Absolutely. And I know we spoke many times around John Auckland, ex-Mount Albert, you know, over there coaching at Otahu. And he's certainly done some great things there in the last season or two.
He's done it with a very young squad as well. Players like Geronimo Doyle who have just been fantastic this year. A number of rookies really standing up now as Mangere East get on a roll.
Yeah, it's been one of those great football sides that we've really enjoyed watching. You know, they've certainly gone around their business, and yeah, just a fantastic team to play to watch play rugby league.
Unbelievable. Another drop ball. 0 from 3, Mangere East. And short of conceding a try, they could not have made a worse start to this one. Putting themselves under all sorts of pressure. The tackle count quickly mounting for them as well. How long until they break? Mount Albert, another set starting inside the attacking 40. Wallace now gets on the ball. Plays short to Palu. One of the Mount Albert juniors in the squad, Pai Palu. Awe to Makahili. Represented the Tonga New Zealand residents just a couple of weeks ago over Queen's birthday weekend. And now Wallace goes to the line, dribbles a little kick in behind. Was it played at? Played at is the call. 6 again. Taulu comes in looking for a bit of work. He's been on fine touch this year, has Cortez Taulu. Scored a number of tries. Remember at the start of the year he was scoring them in 2s and 3s and quickly racing his way to the top of the try scoring charts. Came through the Ellerslie Eagles system. A bit of fullback and wing this year. Now Hoani Rogers Brown straight through. Too easy, and Hoani Rogers Brown barges straight through. Not much of a celebration from young Rogers Brown, who represented the Auckland Māori under 20 earlier this year. You see here, Joyce turns Ropati back in. Then it's the next one here. They look tired, Mangere East, don't they?
Yeah, they're sort of like 6s and 7s there, and as you said, you know, he ran on hard here. Looked like there was the first attempt at a tackle, really feeble, and then through.
Hint of obstruction perhaps there. We saw Hoani Rogers Brown definitely ran behind one of his men. May have taken Taimani out of the play, it looked like, but play on is the call. And Reece Joyce to now look to make it a 6-point lead.
Yep. Up. Down.
does just that. So does the Mount Albert Lions, who lead 6 points to 0. 7 minutes gone here at Walter Massey Park. Big day in store tomorrow, Troy. The Farrelly Photos women's competitions and the 16-17 restricted grand final. It's going to be a great day, particularly I think the top grade of the women's competition. A number of Kiwi ferns in action in that one, and also ladies who are going to be involved in that NRL women's competition. So it's an exciting year for the women.
Yeah, it's going to, I think, you know, make no mistake, there's going to be some big hits tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, ladies and gentlemen. AucklandLeague.co.nz. We start live streaming from about 11:30 on, and the main game, Mangere Wahine up against the Richmond Roses.
Yeah, that one happening at 5 minutes past 3, and there's a big mistake. Whalelo Malio and Joyce, it looked like just lacking a bit of communication there, and it's touched and it goes dead, so it will be a dropout now. So Mangere East let off the hook a little bit there.
And really, to be fair, you know, I said it was a bit of a feeble tackle back there earlier when they went in and scored. Mount Albert, but it was on the, as you said, back-to-back sets on the line there, and maybe a bit of fatigue had crept in. So hopefully now we get to see the Hawks build a bit of pressure, and we see the big strong Fen coming out as the guys now start to attack the line here for the Mangere East Hawks.
Jacob Tamoa is hardly ever tackled on the first attempt. The giant of a man is Tongiu, brother of Siave Tupou, who we see playing for the Richmond Bulldogs this year, and also a little bit for the Vodafone Warriors. As Afoa just about runs, and in fact does run an obstruction. Well, you just can't get away with that these days, running in behind there, and time's off because Makahili, by the look of it, has taken a hit there. Well, a penalty on, or a handover for a kick out on the full on the first set. 2 handling errors follow. Another handling error. They concede a try.
Excuse me.
And now get pinged for an obstruction. That is a messy old start for Matt Pilmer's side. You can almost sort of hear the frustration in Matt Pilmer's voice as well. I think he knows there's a potential gold mine they're sitting on here with some of these young players, but I guess getting the message through and trying to get them to play the football needed at this level. It's been a tough one for them this year, although in saying that, they've done very well. 12 competition points, 6 victories to their name. You compare it to last year, Troy, when we covered them.
Absolutely.
In that final game of the year where they beat Maris to stay up. It's certainly been a big improvement from the Hawks. They can keep some of these boys together. The future looks bright out here at Mangere East. So Royden Gillett gets the set back underway.
I'll go along with this one, Corey. Working hard here, get 7 back with you.
Our way to Rogers Brown, who goes prop to prop and brings Makahili in. Oh,
what a
Rogers
hit.
Brown gets crunched. Straight back up to his feet. Credit to the young fella. Joyce now. They go down the right edge and a missed tackle, and they're still going through Gillett.
Hands away, 3. All the way, 3.
Joyce now kicks out to the left. Should be an uncontested one, although it's hung up there a long time. Palu's got it, and now if they can go left, they've got the numbers here, Mount Albert. Wallace kicks in behind. Now it's a foot race on. Howie Brown back. Needs to be patient here. And waits just long enough. Tap at the 20.
One offside, one offside. Good now.
So Mangere East, another use of the ball. Can they get through 6 tackles?
Okay, movement out of there.
They have gone the entire opening 11 minutes without doing so.
Number 9. Number 9. Square 11. Good now. Make sure our arms stick. All good, play on.
Some good meters there on that run, yep.
40 out from the line now, the Hawks. Backdoor to Brown, who brings in Tamoa. He's met by 3, still gets the offload away. Ball is loose. Brown has to hustle for it. And now Wallace is trying to strip him. Now Howie Brown steps out of a couple. Last tackle coming up. V is the dummy half. Goes short side, gets to the kick, and now a little chase on and it goes out. Well, that is a vast improvement on what they've dished up with the ball in hand previously. So finally a completed set, and they're going to make Mount Albert work it out from their 20 here.
Yeah, 1 foot on that line there, players. 1 foot. On that one.
And welcome in if you've just joined us.
Get him in, lock.
Live stream brought to you by Ctas, our live stream partners, and our official sponsor, SAS Sporting Apparel.
Taulu carries off the base of the scrum. And it's been stripped, and it's called 1-on-1. And now Mangere East are going to go very close. So a key turnover there, a 1-on-1 strip. V jumps out of dummy half, looks left, crashes over. Has he scored? Yes, he has. Natane V has got over for Mangere East first, and it comes off a brilliant strip from Dakota Taimani. See here, he picks the ball up and then just about goes all the way through, and in fact looked for all money like he was going to score. And Mount Albert, they just never got the line set again. Natane V, he jumps into dummy half, he's looking left and right. Just quietly, I think he was always running. Sells out Falilo Malio and crashes over. So good hit back from the Mangere East Hawks.
Yeah, all good. All good. Come on, guys. And there. Not enough heat cover.
Yeah, fabulous day for rugby league down here at the Hawks. Sun is shining. If you're in the neighbourhood, come down and join us. Cafeteria is open. Barista coffee available, as Tush said earlier. And just a fabulous day for a bit of footy action.
So Howie Brown to attempt a conversion from bang in front. And he makes no mistakes. Tied ball game. 14 minutes gone. The Burger King Mangere East Hawks 6. Russell Gordon contractor. Mount Albert Lions 6. Well, they finally complete a set. And on the very next tackle, Troy, 1-on-1 strip, and they're in.
Yeah, I dare say, Matt Hillman will be wanting some more of that, Corey.
Here we go.
Both of these clubs will feature in action tomorrow in the first grand finals of the year. Mangere East in the Pennant Valley Photos Women's Grand Final up against Ponsonby, and Mount Albert in the 16-17 restricted GF against the mighty Barrowsville Vikings.
There'll be a quick, fast game too, so join us with the action. Head along to aucklandleague.co.nz.
Brown turns Tamoa back in on the inside, and he takes him up over halfway. Fresh legs on the park in the shape of Halalilo. They get to the kick. The boot of Limoni.
Nice catch.
Safely caught at the back by Milan Brown. Taulu shakes out of the first tackle and steals a couple more. Tyrell, good, powerful carry, and now he wants a quick play of the ball.
Get your centre back.
Mitui, Kelly, the biggest man on the field, I would think. Fresh off the bench, that's his
Great
first carry.
offload.
Now Awe gets an offload, and now another one from Coma Sampson, but the ball's loose now from Reece Joyce. And Mangere East pick it up and look to counter-attack. Limoni will spread the ball wide early. So a couple of little mistakes now creeping in for the Mount Albert Lions as well after a clean start from the Central Aucklanders. Brown goes to the line. He's tackled by his opposite number, Wallace. Howie Brown has gone from strength to strength in recent years. Was included in the Auckland side. Make his debut in the blue jersey over Queen's birthday weekend. Now a 4, goes across field and finds a fast runner on that left edge. Mount Albert read it well. And it's going to be a hand over there as well.
Yeah, just forward out of the hand, brother.
Forward out of the hand is the call.
Yeah, 5, we'll bring it back 5. Okay, bring it back, get one back, yeah.
So just checking, that's Mount Albert feeding.
Yep, Reece Joyce to feed the scrum. And a false start, so we'll go back and try it again.
Mount Albert ball boys are on the scene. Hey, fellas. Yep.
Put your head in. Put your head in. His head wasn't in. Let's go. Go.
Shout out to one of the Lions sponsors as well, Bill Weary, who will be coaching Mount Albert 16-17 restricted side tomorrow.
Won't he be a calm, relaxed individual tomorrow, Corey?
Awe jumps out and sort of gets collared by Tukia. Joyce to Falilo Amalio, straightens up and look
Great
at the
run.
carry. Big Salah gets slammed in the end by Tamoa.
You got to talk to 3, 5.
Wallace to Cully drive in the legs.
Right, talk to 3. Lazy, get him back.
Admirable effort though from Mangere East, and they forced a mistake. And what about the impact of Howie Brown on that tackle? Joined in late and really put some muscle into it. And they forced a mistake from Cully. So a bit more to like about what the home side are dishing up in the last few minutes. Certainly improved intensity in defence, but the main one, Troy, they're finally completing some sets and not shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, just interesting. A little bit of audio in the background there, and maybe some of the viewers are picking it up. Number 3's got to talk to number 5 about something, and the referee said that probably on 3 or 4 occasions now, so that'll be something to keep an interest on.
They get the offload, and now Mangere East get the second phase going. Taimani, the late call-up, play fullback. Limoni wants a quick play of the ball. Gillett doing his very best to slow it down. And a penalty. So just spent a little bit too long in there that time, Royden Gillett. Limoni will kick for touch. Good young player is Inga Limoni. He's won them a couple of games this year, including a live stream game here against Marist way back in round 3, Troy. There's a jinking run to the try line. And in fact, Coach Matt Pilmer highlighted Inga as one of the guys that's really impressed him this year, along with Kalani Illy, the former South Sydney Rabbitohs under-20s captain, who was unavailable today. Just joined police college, and he's got a few bits and pieces to get through there. Afua hanging on his shoulder is Brown. Brown chimes in and then goes across the face. Tamoa puts it down. Was it gone? Yeah, it has gone forward. Thought for a minute there it was going to be play on, and Tamoa was through.
Well, referee's Johnny on the spot. He's right there.
Certainly did appear that it was knocked on. It was just clumsy hands, really, more than anything.
We're working back here. Yeah, talk to the winger, get him. Now, boys, bring 3 back. Bring 3 and 7 back, winger.
Just that final piece of execution, letting them down. You know, quite possibly there's a try gone begging there.
Bring it back, boys. Bring it back. I'll sit in you. Thank you, 5. Break.
Wallace feeds the scrum, and now Tyrell is the first man to carry out. That tackle finished high, but it didn't start there. It's just a natural progression of the tackle on that occasion. Awe to Joyce, kicks from inside the 40, but it's down the centre of the park. Taimani is back to pick it up. It's a good chase from Mount Albert as well.
Okay, I'll go Rusty.
And they trap him, 20 out, but he gets the offload away. And they'll chew off a couple of extra metres via Fiananga.
Okay. Nice work. Still huge. Okay. Oh, here. Nothing else this side. Okay.
Salilesi jumps out and takes him up over halfway. So good metres on the offering here for the Hawks.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Bring Teddy Idy back in and playing with the Hawks since 2015. Anako Magpies Jr. Howie Brown. That trademark park across the face, and now Tamua causing some real issues down that right edge. Brown puts it high. Chase is good. Pressure on at the back here for Cta, who takes it nicely. Got a very well-timed escort then from Ctas Taulu as well. And now he looks up and he sees open space here. Corey Cta. It's almost like an NFL kick return for a minute there. Troy was sort of pointing at his blockers and off he went. Milan Brown takes him forward to the 40, and now Taulu as well. So the outside backs featuring heavily in the yardage work here for Mount Albert. This man's not an outside back. Cully. He's just about got the size of two outside backs. This Cully. There's a monster in the middle of the park. Awe. Now to Koma Sampson. He's tackled down low by his opposite number, Afua. Last tackle coming up. They will go short side where Reece Joyce is parked. Gets to his kick under pressure from Halalilo, but it's a clean catch at the back for Taimani, who now looks up and then gets the offload away. So enterprising stuff here from Mangere East. They look keen to chance their arm. Plenty of offloads already as well.
Good strong carry there. A couple of Mount Albert defenders left on the ground. Quick play the ball.
Latane V thinking that was probably worthy of a penalty. Referee disagreeing. Teddy Idy takes him up to halfway, but he's knocked it on.
It's heartbreaking after all that hard work getting out of your half, isn't it?
Drop that one right on halfway, so Mount Albert will start this set. Positive field positioning.
He said one in, one out. That was his call. He gave you a call early enough to play on. Get him in, lock. Wait. Go. Wait. Nice work. Yep, go. Good.
ARL, ill-advised offload. The ball is loose. And we're just going to have to wait for confirmation there. I think a double knock on is the call.
We'll bring it back. Yeah, we set the line there, boys. Keep going, sir. Keep going. Just talk to your winger as well. Wait. Get him in, guys. Stand up. Come on, let's get this organised. Where's the lock?
Missing a lock forward somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe he's at the Burger King drive-thru.
Well, the fullback's playing there now, so needn't worry. And Royden Gillett gets back underway, runs it straight at R4. That's a good carry from Gillett, former Wenty Magpies centre. And a penalty as well. So starting to get a little worrying now for Mangere East. It's a rough couple of minutes they've endured here now, and going to come under big pressure as we head into the final 15 minutes of this half. Awe directing the troops. Centralises via Falilo Amalio. Mount Albert with 30-12 winners over Mangere East earlier this year. Sampson goes to the line, plays out the back to Wallace, and then a short ball pops the offload. Ctas Taulu. There it is, and a peach of an offload.
in the lead up. Ctas Taulu scores Mount Albert second.
As a watcher in the SAS replay here, can't help but think, you know, off the back of a penalty there, which was a crazy penalty to give away, the execution from Mount Albert just clinical.
Yep, you see here, it is the offload from Paia Palu. Look at this, just flicks it out the back, knows where his winger is, and then from there, Ctas Taulu, he's too good to finish it to be denied from close range like that. He goes over for another try, and Mount Albert second of the day. Rhys Joyce's goal kicking was what got them home last week against Otahu. He nailed 2 conversions to Geronimo Doyle's 1, and that was enough to get them the victory. Geronimo Doyle currently leading the competition in points scored. Brilliant goal kicker. He scores a fair few tries as well. Sets up a lot as well, so he's been a real revelation this year for the Leopards. Drew Radich in that conversation as well for top point scorer as Joyce guides this one through, and the Mount Albert Lions go back to a 6-point lead.
So as Mangere East come back towards the halfway mark, ready to restart the match. Still very much in the game. And looking for some really tidiness around their completions. You know, they've been down here a couple of times with some opportunities that have gone astray, Corey.
And you're right, defensively, a penalty in the lead up to each of the tries they've conceded. So they've really shot themselves in the foot in that area of the game.
Okay, long.
Wallace brings Palu back in on the inside. He breaks the initial one, but there's plenty of green jerseys around and they take him to ground eventually. Coma Sampson gets a nice offload out the back, although most of his teammates had overrun it by the time it got out there. 6 again is the call. Played at. So now Johnny Faleloa-Malio fresh on the park. He'll fill that dummy half role. Looks like Aiden Awe off for a rest. Now they bring Sampson in. Runs it at Natane V. He'll get an offload away here if he can, Sampson.
He's having some strong minutes, Sampson.
A real quality player. Glenora Bears Jr. Played a bit of Fox for them in between stints with the Junior Warriors, and over in France is now Joyce, now directs a little bit of traffic, and Rhys Joyce will go right through. Rhys Joyce is in. Mount Albert have their third, and the Lions are in control. Starts with a really good carry from Cully Cully. And then a quick play of the ball, and from here it's all Rhys Joyce. Sells one with a dummy. Limoni shoots out of the line. Just in that little gap that gets created in behind, Rhys Joyce has the presence of mind to step his way through. And over he goes.
Yeah, so that last passage of play for the Mangere East Hawks has just been all defence work. And as we wait for the kick to come, they're about to muscle up and do some more defence straight after the kickoff.
Sort of the clash of 2 differing styles so far, Troy. Mangere East really want to promote the ball, a lot of second phase from them. Mount Albert look like they're playing sort of completion first football, although we have seen a bit more second phase from them late in this half.
Yeah, but I think, you know, they've certainly been a lot better at their execution and, you know, especially at the right end of the field. One of the things that Matt Pilmer touched on during your interview was the rushing up out of the defence line. Now, these guys have been defending quite hard, you know, back-to-back sets. And just then, you know, that try came off the back of somebody rushing hard off the D, created the spot, and, you know, we see points on the board. So now what happens after the kick at goal? Is Mangere East back to the halfway to kick off again to run down there and do some more tackling. So this is where, you know, mental toughness is required. And they need to get a turnover and start mounting some pressure at the right end of the field.
12 points, by no means a terminal score line. They wouldn't want to be behind by too much more heading into the break, so they've got 9 minutes to go, Mangere East. As Kali takes forward. Johnny Falilo Malio. And a mistake there at the play of the ball. So here's a good chance for the Hawks now to just settle things down, set up camp down this end of the field for a little bit, give your defence a rest. They've done almost double the defensive work that Manal would have done so far in this game.
For certain. Yeah, no one's racing to get into the scrum, are they? So the Burger King Hawks just starting to pack down now.
Four shifts it out.
Working out here. Leave it. Off the ball,
Matane V. Short to R4, and R4 plays at the line, brings the big fella in, and Mamaloa just about went through. Now R4 has a go at short range, right up against the line. Mangere East pushing hard, fourth tackle. One up their sleeve, V to Limoni. Limoni comes across, but the scramble's brilliant from Mount Albert. Reese Joyce and Royden Gill at that time combining to take it down, and now Howard Brown, a little bit of footwork. Brown flicks the ball out the back. It's scooped up by Limoni. Limoni now dancing his way through. Inga Limoni will score. And it is hot potato stuff. It's brilliant rugby league to watch. And the Mangere East Hawks have their second try. The replay will make for sweet viewing. Let's take a look. And Howie Brown, for such a big half, Troy, his footwork is just incredible. Let's take a look here. Just the way he sets this alight here. The little shimmy at the line just about goes through. And then it's a falcon actually off the head of Wallace. And then from here, the line's broken. Limoni breaks some ankles here at the death. Does well to go around a roll party and finish, but that is nice rugby league to watch.
Yeah, that was a great try. That deflection off the head, you know, Lamoni read that well. And there was nobody jammed in next to the referee, so that was quite open there. And Rapati tried to pick him up, but stepped him and sort of had enough momentum to get across the try line. So 4 points on the board. And that keeps the Hawks definitely in this match, mate.
Good to see Jeff Brown down here from the Toa Samoa setup.
And that's the right call you hear from over there on the touchline is ball control. That's what they want the Mangere East Hawks to have. And if they can do that, that'll certainly get them halfway to this chore being.
Flags are up, and the gap is back to 6. So that is a solid hit back from the Mangere East Hawks. And you've got to admire their character they've shown so far, Troy. They've faced a fair bit of adversity. And certainly in terms of their economy with the ball, it hasn't been good. But to only trail by 6 points at this stage, I think probably says a lot about the squad and their belief in each other. So about 4 minutes to go here at Walter Massey Park, the refurbished Walter Massey Park. And that club room's down here, ladies and gentlemen, is worth the trip alone. It's a thing of beauty.
Clean take.
Enjoyed the new cafeteria today, and also the club rooms, which have been broken down into eras. All the old jerseys up there and photos. Some famous names on that wall. Troy Olsen, Filipina.
Legend.
So Mangere East now looking to finish on a high. Matane V brings the front rower in. They need to start building some compounding pressure, because it tends to be they do a couple of things well and then make a mistake, and just as I say that, there's just about a knock on. Now Tamoa will step back on the inside, and you need more than one to tackle him. Gets the offload out the back, and there it is on cue. Mangere East, fresh off points, failed to complete this set. And that, Troy, is just really about staying calm in the moment. You don't need to score points directly after a set like that. Just get down the other end and let your defence do the talking. But just two offload happy in the end there. Tamoa flung it out the back. And it was either Lemoni or Natane V who put it down.
Yeah, I think the offload was pushed, and just puts everyone under a wee bit of pressure. So a little bit more patience required for the Mangere East Hawks as they're now back into defence mode. And here come the Lions.
Joyce to Falelo Malio. Spots up. Jacob Tamoa doing a lot of defending in the middle of the park. Attacking on the edge as Koma Sampson now goes to the line. He's looking for an offload. Well wrapped up that time. No, he's not. Gets the ball out the back to Falelo Malio, who then spins it across the face, back inside to Paiapalu.
On the line, boys, on the line.
Mangere East right up against it here now. Sloppy play the ball. Wallace steps, flings it back to the inside. Cully, he will pass to the middle as well, and Sampson now will settle. Last tackle coming up. 2 minutes to play in this half. Wide it goes, it's knocked on by Joyce. Ball is loose, and now there's a foot race on. Lemoni chasing it down. Ropati dives on it, but will go back for the knock on earlier in the piece. And if they get things packed quickly here, Mangere East will get a good shot at further points before half-time. Although no one seems in too much of a hurry, it has been a fairly taxing first half for both sides.
Yeah, the call in the background about body language. You think there'd be a wee bit more urgency on that. So here they come, Hawks. Only 80 metres to go.
Mustn't force the issue on this set though, Mangere East. Look at 18-12. Coach Matt Pilmer will be fairly happy at the break, to be honest. And they've held the ball, they've played well, and oh, that's a ugly situation that Afor was put into then. Almost forced into doing the splits. So siren goes in the background, and Lemoni will just tap and go, and then decides he'll kick it out. So that'll get us to half-time. It is the Russell Gordon Contractors Mount Albert Lions 18, Burger King Mangere East Hawks 12 here in round 16 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership.
And don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get a highlights package from last week's game as we catch up with what went down with Papakura Seagulls. Stay with me because I'm holding on. And how I call it? Oh dear. Okay.
To that man, Tuia, who plays at the line. They go back door now. Radic hands it off to Edwards. Quick hands now. They've got them stretched here to Howick. They head back inside. Tafili battling still, and he's over. Tafili. They're 10 metres out from the line. Quick play the ball. Friend jumps off the back of it now. Sizes up Jamal Hunt. Jethro Friend. Too easy. Lassie plays short now, and straight up over the top. Setafano to Willie Stowers. And Papakura on the board. Hefo goes to the line. Hefo, Roman Hefo straight through. Go to the left there. Juasi dinks a kick over the top. Chase is coming. Keanu Naden, has he beaten everyone to the ball? Keanu Naden scored here. Really good. Phoenix Hunt had some faster touches. Hard to go past. Willie Stowers has to stand out now. His footy breaks, and he's got Stowers looming on his left, and it should have gone. Still going though his footy, but he had Willie Stowers there. You've got to hand him the ball. Rogers gets onto a could play the ball now. Hunt heads down the short side. It might not matter. Phoenix Hunt reaches out.
I think it's a try. Yes, it is. We got up 12-0 earlier. Evil.
You stop right there, son.
Armiger passes across the body now. Radic brings in Edwards. There's space on this left edge here now. Tufeli steps back inside. A little bit of footwork. He's over for a second. Phoenix Hunt shifts wide to the player coach, and now a little gap down the right hand side, and Papakura are going in. Messy stuff from Howard. Foimono picks it up, and now all of a sudden Anthony Foimono just about slips through. Quick play the ball up the back of it. Leabata will go very close. I think he's got there. Right in front of the SAS upright, penalty. Do you take the two? Friend's not even thinking about it. He wants to tap and go. Back underway they go. They miss out Pulipaki now, and they shuffle play on. Papakura, a man down on the defensive line. Foimono. Anthony Foimono scores, and Hauaka back in front. Prendergast will feed. That's the way they go. Radic to Edwards. Edwards now holds up and goes through a little gap. George Edwards is through. Hauaka in again.
He's happy with it.
The defensive line will confirm. Hifo goes to the line, pops it to Stowers, who goes out the back to Uasi, and now they're going to move left. Ikahe Hifo hands it off. They're going to break down the left. Here's a try. And it is Smithson who scores. Pressure on the field. Potentially at stake here. Carl carries forward. He gets whacked to the ground. A siren goes in the background. So a valiant effort from the Papakura Seagulls, but it is the Scott Electrical Power Corners who hold on for a 32-28 victory over the Papakura Seagulls in round 15 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership.
Joined by Willie Stowers. Well, Willie, so close but just a little bit short. What was the difference?
It was a bit unlucky. I think in the end there, we just missed too many tackles. When they get in the front foot, man, they're a good team and they go really well. So big ups to them.
Some big, I guess, pluses for you guys today. Generated a whole lot more points and were able to get over the line. So there is some positives to take out of it.
Exactly. I think coming from last week, it was a big improvement. We did a lot of workout training, and I guess we capitalised on that today. So it's worked for us.
We're now joined by Jethro Friend, captain of the Howard Hornets. Well, a bit of a scary one there, Jethro, but you held on. What did you like about your team today?
We made it hard for ourselves, but all I said at the start of the game was I don't care how we win, as long as we win, and that's the starting point. So we look to build from there and get better. But yeah, slow start, we're getting real scrappy, so we'll look at putting more of an 80-minute performance on next week.
Got out to a good lead early, but then fell away, and you were behind for a fair bit there. What was lacking in that period of the game?
Trying to take the easy option. In times of the game, they're going to go momentum, so we just got to fight, keep fighting until we get the ball back. And I think we just put our heads down and don't stay in the fight. So yeah, we just got to stay in it next time.
You remain now squarely in the hunt for that fourth position, so a relieving win, no doubt, for you guys.
Yeah, that's it. We keep winning and we stay in it, so that's what we have to do every week. So and we're capable of doing it. So I'm confident in our team, and yeah, looking forward to next week already.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. Half-time here at Walter Massey Park, and it is the Mount Albert Lions with a 6-point lead at the break over the Mangere East Hawks. Well, Troy, an interesting first half, really. Mangere East making errors in the lead up to all three of the tries that they've conceded, and when they've held the ball, they've looked really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Mount Albert looked like they were all over it, and if it hadn't been for